What's up, guys? We are back with a big Week 10 of college football picks for Saturday, November 2nd. Week 9 was all over the place, guys. We finished things up 3-3-1 on the day. Overall, not exactly what we were looking for. Time to get back to work and find some wins, and we have a ton of plays going straight to the pinned comment for this one, guys. We have a great video for you today covering a ton of games and giving you my best leans on the side and over-under for each one of these matchups. If you want to win all of your bets here on Week 10, hit that like button. It's good luck and shows support for the channel and all the hard work we're putting in every single day. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on our daily content, and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on the value of the early lines. You can now also sign up for a channel membership by clicking the little join button right below the video. Members get exclusive early access to all NFL and college football videos and get their names up on screen just like right now. I really appreciate the support from all of you. Seeing that badge next to your comments keeps me fired up and motivated to make this channel even bigger and better. Our videos are sponsored by StumpTheSpread.com. We have a team of experienced cappers over there for every major sport, currently covering NFL, NCAA football, NHL, UFC, and the NBA, with college basketball right around the corner. NCAA football has been one of our most profitable sports over the years, and we have a seasoned expert capper over there that has been killing it so far this season, and he has 7 premium picks already posted to StumpTheSpread.com here for Saturday. Click the link in the description if you're interested in signing up, and also to join our free email list to get the occasional free or premium pick straight to your inbox. Also, if you're interested in peer-to-peer sports betting with only 1% juice, the link is in the description to check out BetOpenly, where you can make all of your favorite bets and even act as the house on parlays, where you only need one leg to win to cash your bet. Comment below with any bets you're looking at today, and we will give you our best advice on all of them. We are committed to responding to every single comment every day, so let us know anything you want to say about my picks, these videos, or anything you see here. As always, our favorite picks will be in the pinned comment down below. Now let's get into our first game of the day. We've got number 4 Ohio State going on the road to take on number 3 Penn State. The Buckeyes, guys, they come into this game fresh off of a nice bounce back win. They got the 21-17 win there over Nebraska after getting, I'm not going to say blown out. I mean, they lost by 1 point, but taking a disappointing loss there against number 3 Oregon. In that win over Nebraska, guys, things looked okay. Obviously, they did only put up 21 points, so, not the best, but also not the worst. We saw Will Howard have a great day, 13 of 16, 221 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. He was picked off once, so that's a little bit concerning, but really it was the passing game that carried things for the Buckeyes in this game. I mean, Tate had a big game, 102 receiving yards and a touchdown for him on only 4 receptions. The running game didn't really get going, so that's something we'll need to monitor here going forward, but I'm expecting Ohio State to figure things out at least a little bit in their ground game, but that passing attack is potent, guys. And on the defensive side, giving up only 17 points to Nebraska, not bad at all. They did a good job against a very, very solid Nebraska running attack, and they did generate 1 interception, so they created a turnover out there to even things up in that turnover battle. You keep things even, you should be in the game with a chance to win there down the stretch. So we'll see what they can do here going on the road to take on a very strong opponent in the Penn State Nittany Lions. Penn State still undefeated on the season, 7-0 on the year. Last week they got a nice win there at Wisconsin. They've got a good win over Illinois earlier in the season, but that's their only win against a ranked opponent. They played a very close game at USC a couple weeks ago, winning 33-30. So yeah, not a team that, obviously they deserve lots of respect. They're still undefeated. They've got some decent wins, but still a team looking for some truly elite level wins out there. So we'll see what they can do. Last week against Wisconsin, we saw Aller and, we saw 2 quarterbacks really pass for touchdowns in the game. So that's an interesting stat to see in terms of, the running game. It continues to be elite there for Penn State. They're a very good running team. And yeah, on defense, guys, gave up only 13 points, a dominant performance. They really dominated there in the secondary. They did a good job against the run here. They generated 1 turnover in the game. So, that's fine. That's good. It was a 1-to-1 turnover situation. So not a big problem there. So expecting pretty good stuff from Penn State every time they're out there. But I do think this game could be a little bit of a test for them in terms of the numbers for this game, guys. We see Penn State, they are getting 3 points here playing at home. We got an over-under of 47.5. Ohio State is 3-4 against the spread this season, 4-3 to the over. Penn State is 3-4 against the spread as well, and 5-2 to the under. Guys, I like Ohio State here, -3 in this spot. It appears Penn State starting quarterback Drew Aller will go in this matchup, but we're still a little bit concerned about the injury status here of their most important player. We've been valuing Ohio State higher than Penn State all season long, and we don't see Ohio State being too affected by the tough crowd atmosphere there in Happy Valley. Ohio State nearly won at Oregon, and this should be another tough test, although slightly more manageable than what the Buckeyes faced in Eugene. Ohio State didn't look great last week in their win over Nebraska, but we expect the Buckeyes were looking ahead to, this game on the schedule. Ohio State's quarterback Will Howard looking for revenge, growing up in Pennsylvania, but not being recruited here by the Nittany Lions. So a big revenge spot here, guys. Go ahead and give me Ohio State here at -3. I think it's a very, very solid spot. In terms of the over-under of 47.5 in this game, I'm probably siding just a slight bit towards the under, but overall, not an over-under spot that I'm in love with. Next on the docket, guys, we got the Minnesota Golden Gophers going on the road to take on number 24 Illinois. The Golden Gophers are 5-3 on the season. They come into this game winners of their last 3 in a row. A nice win there over then number 11 USC, a close win at UCLA, and then last week they demolished Maryland. So, some positive things for the Golden Gophers. They are 3-2 in Big Ten play, and last week against Maryland, everything was clicking. Definitely had to be pretty hyped there if you were a Minnesota fan, guys, because Brosner looked good in the passing game, amazing, 4 touchdowns, 320 passing yards. He was not picked off. The running game was fully online out there. A very good day on the ground. And we saw a couple receivers have huge days. Jackson and Spencer each caught 2 touchdown passes, and both of them, they almost both cracked 100 yards, but very, very impressive stuff out there. Maryland, not necessarily the toughest opponent. We saw them turn the ball over a couple times. So, the Minnesota defense looked pretty good in that game, giving up only 23 points. They did look a little susceptible to the run, but I don't think we have to be too worried about that. Overall, a very good day there for Minnesota. So we'll see what they can do here going on the road to take on Illinois, who's number 24 in the nation despite picking up their second loss. When you lose to the number 1 team in the country, when you're playing, at the number 1 team in the country, I think, you get a little bit of slack there because that is a tough situation to go into. And it wasn't a close game. I mean, they lost 38-9, so not what we've typically seen from Illinois. They've been a team that can keep it close against pretty much anyone, it's felt like. The passing game didn't look great, guys. Luke Altmaier got picked off twice in the loss. The running game did get going, 132 yards on the ground. Very nice stuff there. You just can't turn the ball over twice and only force a single turnover of your own and really expect to keep things close against this Oregon team. They are very, very talented, both in the passing game and in the running game. So we saw the Illinois defense really struggle out there, not something we are very used to seeing. So we'll see what they can do here in this matchup against the Golden Gophers. Illinois is going to be playing at home in this game, so we'll see how that goes. The Fighting Illini getting 3 points here at home. We've got an over-under of 46.5. Unfortunately, guys, I cannot give you my lean on the side in this one. We can go ahead and look at the trends. I mean, Minnesota 6-1-1 against the spread this season, 4-4 to the over-under. Illinois 5-2-1 against the spread, and 6-2 to the under. We have a premium pick on the side on this game over at Stump the Spread, so I can't give that one away, but I can tell you guys I do think, maybe we want to look a little bit towards an under in this game. 46.5, not a ton of points, but both teams like to run the ball here. Both teams have reasonable defenses, so maybe a little bit of a look at the under, but you're going to have to go over to stumpthespread.com if you want to see our lean on the side. Hey guys, jumping in here with a quick ad break. This is a great time to sign up at stumpthespread.com. Signing up for a premium membership gets you access to our entire team of cappers covering NFL, college football, NBA, NHL, UFC, and college basketball, which is right around the corner. We make things extremely easy for you with pick notifications directly to your phone and unit sizes assigned to each matchup, so you know where our confidence level is on every individual play. To test out the service before you buy, join our free email list to get the occasional free or premium pick straight to your inbox. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Also, if you want to experience peer-to-peer sports betting while paying almost zero juice on your plays, click the link in the description and sign up at betopenly.com. Now guys, back to the games. Next up, guys, we've got the Northwestern Wildcats going on the road to take on the Purdue Boilermakers. Northwestern comes into this game 3-5 on the season. Last week did not go great for them. They ended up losing at Iowa 40-14. So, not a great look. They lost the week before that against Wisconsin. Week before that, they did get a win there at Maryland, but things have not exactly been going the way of Northwestern this season. It's been pretty rough out there. Last week against Iowa, we didn't see the passing game look good at all. Kind of a trend here for Northwestern, and they had 2 interceptions in that game, only 120 total yards of passing. So, not looking too hot. The running game was also terrible, guys. Only 43 yards on 24 carries there for the running game. An absolutely abysmal day for the offense out there. A total of 3 turnovers in the game. Just not going to work. On defense, they looked really, really good against the passing game, but that's not really what Iowa wants to do, guys. They want to run the ball, and they were able to run the ball pretty successfully, putting up 203 ground yards and 4 rushing touchdowns on only 39 carries. So, Northwestern not doing a good job stopping the run, not really doing a great job there. on offense at all. So definitely reason to be worried here about Northwestern. Not a team that's having a great time. They're only 1-4 right now in conference play. On the other side, guys, we've got Purdue. They're not exactly a team that's having a great time either. They're 1-6 on the season. They're coming off of a 35-0 loss there against Oregon. A tough look following up a 1-point loss there at Illinois. So yeah, they're still looking for their first win here in the Big Ten. I mean, this season 0-4 in conference play, only 1-6 overall. Pretty rough stuff. We'll see what they can do out here. Obviously, they're going to be facing a much more manageable opponent than their last week, going up against then number 2 Oregon. Purdue did not look good. Couldn't get the passing game going at all. They did have 208 yards on the ground on 40 carries with Reggie Love III, 93 yards, Orion Brown, 48 yards. Like, this is a team that can definitely run the ball. And if you can run it against the number 1 now team in the nation, you have to expect to be able to run the ball, against pretty much anyone. So we'll see how that goes. Obviously, their defense didn't have a great time, but they did limit the Oregon rushing attack a little bit. They did come up with an interception. So yeah, not a terrible day. Honestly, they got pretty unlucky to get shut out in that game. They had some opportunities and things just didn't quite go their way, but I'm expecting much better stuff here from Purdue down the stretch of the season. It seems like they're playing a bit better. Looking at the numbers for this game, guys, Purdue is -2. We've got an over-under of 45 out there. Northwestern only 2-6 against the spread this season and 4-4 to the over-under. Purdue 2-5 against the spread and 4-3 to the over. Guys, I like Purdue here at -2. This is a situation I feel like they are a little bit better than their 1-6 record would indicate. And while I don't feel like Northwestern is as good as their 3-5 record, yeah, I mean, they've been one of the worst offensive teams in the Big Ten this season, ranking 124th in the nation in scoring average. It's a tricky back-to-back road trip for Northwestern as well, and the Wildcats are coming off a poor showing in their 14-40 loss at Iowa last week. Purdue's offense has shown better signs recently, their 49-40 loss at Illinois. Even though Purdue didn't score in their last outing against Oregon, the Boilermakers had scoring opportunities that they didn't convert, and they should have had more success there in that one for sure. So I think they're going to have a pretty good time in this game against Northwestern. In terms of that over-under of 45, I'm going to shade here a little bit towards the over. I think both teams will be able to score in this matchup probably, but the over-under in this game, not one of my favorite spots. Moving right along here, guys, we are looking at the Virginia Tech Hokies going on the road to take on the Syracuse Orange. Virginia Tech comes in this game 5-3 on the season. They won their last 3 in a row. Last week, they got a nice 21-6 win there over Georgia Tech, and they've been playing pretty well. They're 3-1 there in ACC play, so definitely time to put a little bit of respect there on the Hokies name, guys. I mean, in that win, it was at home, guys, against Georgia Tech, so they'll take that, but it does take a little bit of the shine off of it. We saw Drones put up 128 yards and 1 passing touchdown. The running game looked pretty good there for Virginia Tech as well, but maybe not elite. I mean, Tootin did look good, 17 carries, 80 yards there, but most of that came on one individual 41-yard run, so I'm not going to freak out about that too much. The real thing to freak out here about was the Virginia Tech defense. They looked very good there. I mean, they racked up 2 interceptions in the game. They held down the running game pretty effectively. So yeah, nice stuff there. They didn't have a great answer there for Singleton Jr. in the passing game, and they did give up a little bit to the pass, but definitely not a huge problem, guys. The Virginia Tech defense played really, really well last week, but the question is, are they going to be able to carry that over to take on a much more dangerous opponent here in the Syracuse Orange? They come into this game fresh off of a 41-13 loss there at Pitt. Clearly not a team that, the Syracuse Orange are in the same category as right now. They're 2-2 there in ACC play, but Pitt is still undefeated in ACC play, and they are looking pretty good out there. So we'll see how things go this week for them. I'm expecting things to change a little bit. I mean, the Orange do have a win this season over a ranked opponent. They went into UNLV and got a 44-41 win. They had a win against NC State. Obviously, that's not the toughest opponent, but not really the easiest opponent necessarily either. And yeah, I mean, last week against Pitt, it was pretty bleak. I'm not going to lie, but I do think they have the possibility to bounce back. This is a nice offense. We did see McCord really have a horrendous game, guys. He had 5 interceptions there against Pitt. Is that really what we expect to see from him again this week? I certainly do not. I think he's going to clean up a lot of those mistakes. And while Syracuse isn't really a very good running team, guys, I'm expecting them to, make hay there through the passing game. And while their defense had a rough time last week, they only gave up 108 passing yards to, the starting quarterback. And generally speaking, I think this is a defense that can do some positive things out there. They only gave up 73 yards on the ground to Pitt, which is nice. So yeah, overall, I think Syracuse really just needs needs a bounce back day from McCord, which I think they will get to be in good shape in this game. The Orange are getting 4 points here playing at home. We've got an over under of 53.5. Virginia Tech is 5-3 against the spread and 5-3 to the over. Syracuse is 3-4 against the spread and 4-2-1 to the under this season. Guys, I'm taking Syracuse here at +4. We're getting the Orange at a bit of a discount this week because of their poor showing on the road against Pittsburgh last week. These teams have been fairly comparable this season with their overall results, but we like Syracuse coming back home after playing the last month of games on the road. Virginia Tech started turning things around after their back-to-back losses against Rutgers and Miami, winning their last 3 games in a row, but the Hokies haven't been as consistent as we were hoping they would be this season, and at 5-3 overall, I'm not going to freak out about that. We like the home team here getting over a field goal. I think this is a very solid value play. In terms of the over-under of 53.5, not necessarily an amazing spot, but I do think you might want to look a bit towards that under. I don't think Virginia Tech is going to score a ton of points in this matchup, and I do, we've got a small trend towards the under there for Syracuse, so give me a little taste of that under as well. Jumping in with our first ever sportsbook ad, guys, and I am super excited to tell you about BetOpenly. They are unlike any regular sportsbook out there. Their whole goal is to facilitate peer-to-peer betting, so instead of them having a vested interest in you winning or losing your bet, they just want to match you up with a real person who wants the opposite side. At BetOpenly, you will be paying drastically reduced juice on your bets, close to 1% instead of the 10% you would pay at any of the big guys. Not having to fight that built in-house edge sounds pretty great to me. BetOpenly supports all your favorite bets, including props and parlays, and get this, guys, you can even be the house on parlays, meaning you only need a single leg to win to cash your bet. Most importantly, BetOpenly will never limit your account for being a consistent winner, which is something that happens all the time on the bigger sites. If you're interested in signing up, click the referral link in the description of this video and let's cash some bets. Now, guys, back to the games. Moving right along here, guys, we are looking at the Texas Tech Red Raiders going on the road to take on number 11 Iowa State. Texas Tech comes into this game fresh off of a brutal 1-point loss there at TCU. Their last couple of weeks have went pretty rough. They, got to go on the road for this one too, and it's not like it's against the easiest opponent. So we'll see if they can bounce back a little bit, albeit after a game they probably should have won there against the Horned Frogs, guys. They got outscored 3-14 there in the fourth quarter. We saw, Morton and Hammond combined to pass for nearly 300 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions in the game. That's got to feel pretty good. Taj Brooks had a great game in the ground attack, 30 carries, 121 yards, and a touchdown. And just in general, guys, Texas Tech seems very committed to being able to run the ball. So I like what they're doing in that running game. We also love what we're seeing from Caleb Douglas there. He's looking like a very dynamic receiving option, guys. 9 receptions there for 140 yards. He didn't find the end zone last week, but I'm expecting him to do more positive things this week, even going up against a pretty tough opponent. On defense, obviously giving up 35 points is not great, but we did see Texas Tech generate 3 turnovers in the game, so that's definitely helpful. They were able to slow down, maybe not quite stop the TCU rushing attack. They weren't able to do too much against the pass there, but against TCU's passing attack, very few teams are going to have success this season. So we'll see what they're able to do here as they go on the road to take on the number 11 Iowa State Cyclones, who are still undefeated on the season, guys. 7-0 this year, 4-0 in Big 12 play. Their last win came in a nail-biter against UCF. They won that game 38-35, and there's not a lot of great wins here on the season for them. They did get a win over then number 21 Iowa, but that is not an Iowa team that I think is going to, spend a ton of time this season being a ranked opponent. So we'll see how things go here for Iowa State. Last week, I'm not going to freak out about a 3-point win over UCF. Not like UCF's terrible, but also not like UCF is great. We saw a couple of interceptions there for Iowa State. The running game was great. That's the main strength and main focus of this offense. But yeah, the passing game, and we did see Jalen Noel look great out there. 8 receptions for 153 yards for him. But yeah, the quarterback play for Iowa State looking a little bit sketchy to me. And on defense, giving up 35 points to UCF, they were completely unable to stop the run, and that is what Texas Tech wants to do, guys. So a little bit of concern here for Iowa State, despite their undefeated record. Looking at the numbers for this game, guys, we see the Sycamores, they are minus 13.5. We've got an over-under of 56.5. Texas Tech, 4-3-1 against the spread, 5-3 to the over. Iowa State, 5-2 against the spread, and 4-3 to the over. Guys, I like Texas Tech here getting 13.5 points, a very good amount. They're starting quarterback Baron Morton. He's going to be the one out there under center. It gives me a lot more confidence for them in this game. Texas Tech has been the hottest team in the Big 12, or had been until their 2-game losing streak, and that's allowing us to buy a little bit lower here on the Red Raiders. They've been one of the best offensive teams in the Big 12, ranking 16th in the nation in scoring. It's tough covering a spread of this magnitude against an offense that's shown such a high ceiling. We weren't very impressed with Iowa State's narrow win there against UCF in their last outing, and I think we want to fade the Cyclones at home again in this game. In terms of the over-under of 56.5, I'm leaning towards the under in this game pretty significantly. Both teams really want to establish the run. That's going to shorten the game, lead to a little bit less offense. That gives the points and that under quite a bit of value. Moving right along here, guys, we're looking at number 13, Indiana, going on the road to take on Michigan State. The Hoosiers, they come into this game still undefeated on the season. They're currently in the top spot there in the Big Ten, a 5-0 conference record, an 8-0 record overall. Very solid stuff. They don't have any wins against ranked opponents, and they have been handling these games pretty comfortably. Last week against Washington, guys, they won 31-17, so no problem with that. A good win there for sure. Indiana, jumped out to a 7-0 lead in the first quarter and did not let up there. The passing game didn't look amazing, but that's not really their jam, guys. They want to run the ball, and they did run the ball 52 times there against Washington. 123 yards there for Justice Elson. Yeah, one touchdown there, so not bad stuff. We did see them turn the ball over one time, that interception, but other than that, guys, a pretty good day there on offense. Defensively, they looked dominant. 2 interceptions there against Washington. They did give up 116 yards on the ground, and that's even, putting that negative 21 rushing yards there from Will Rogers in the mix. But yeah, generally speaking, not great against the run, but pretty good against the pass there for Indiana. So we'll see what they're able to do in this one as they go on the road to take on the Michigan State Spartans, who are 4-4 on the season. They come into this game fresh off a narrow 24-17 loss there at their in-state rival Michigan. A rough showing there at 2-3 in Big Ten play, though. They haven't been terrible. They've got a nice win there over Iowa. They played, I'm not going to say the most competitive game there against Oregon, but they're doing what they can to keep their heads above water. And last week at Michigan, we liked what we saw, generally speaking, guys. I mean, they kept things very, very close. The passing game was good. No mistakes, no major mistakes there. 189 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. We saw Nate Carter look like a monster in the running game. 19 carries, 118 yards, 1 touchdown for him. They did turn the ball over 1 time, which, pretty critical mistake there. In terms of their defense, though, they were pretty good. They did give up 2 passing touchdowns, but not like they gave up a ton through the air. They didn't really, I'm not going to say they struggled against the run. I mean, giving up 120 yards and 1 touchdown on 31 carries, it's not amazing, but it's also not terrible. So, guys, looking at the numbers for this game, Michigan State is getting 8 points here playing at home. We've got an over-under of 53.5 out there. Indiana, they're 7-1 against the spread. People have been making some money on the Hoosiers this year. They're 6-2 to the over. Michigan State, 3-4-1 against the spread, and 5-3 to that under. Guys, this is going to maybe come as a little bit of a shock, but we like Michigan State here at +8. I love that what Indiana has shown us so far this season, but it's fair to say they faced a very manageable schedule on their way to their 8-0 record. They've taken a huge step forward this season under a new head coach, but I'm not quite as high on the Hoosiers now that their starting quarterback Curtis Rourke is out with injury. Michigan State looked really solid in their last home game, beating a respectable Iowa squad 32-20. If we get another showing from Michigan State like that at home, then they should be able to get us the cover in this game for sure. So definitely like the Spartans here at +8. In terms of that over-under of 53.5, I'm going to lean a bit towards the under here. I don't know if it's an amazing play necessarily, but 53.5 seems like a lot for a couple teams that definitely are going to want to establish the run. So yeah, go ahead and give me just a small taste of that under also. Moving right along here, guys, we're looking at an ACC showdown between North Carolina and Florida State. The Tar Heels come into this game fresh off a big win. They won 41-14 there at UVA, so a very nice win there over a team that we would have thought would be a little bit better than North Carolina, but hey, they will certainly take that win, guys. They haven't had a whole lot to feel great about recently, but definitely a 41-14 beatdown over Virginia is definitely something to feel good about. Jacoby Criswell, 2 touchdown passes, almost 300 yards passing, and 0 interceptions in the game. The running game there for North Carolina looked very, very good. Hampton put up 105 yards on 26 carries and a pair of touchdowns, so good stuff there. J.J. Jones looks like an insane pass catcher, 129 yards and 2 touchdowns out there for him on only 5 receptions. So a banner day there for North Carolina on offense for sure, and the defense was not far behind, guys. They were dominant out there. They generated 2 interceptions, so yeah, a couple turnovers there has to feel great. They only gave up 156 yards to one quarterback, a total of 281 passing yards, so that's not insane, but when you figure a couple of interceptions in there, that suddenly looks a lot better, and they completely dominated the running game, guys. They did not let Virginia get anything going there on the ground. So big stuff there for the defense there from North Carolina. They're going to be hoping they can have a similar performance here as they go on the road to take on Florida State. The Seminoles come into this game only 1-7 on the year. They got blown out last week at number 6 Miami, so not too much to feel ashamed of there. A lot of teams are going to have a rough time against Miami, but yeah, 36-14. It does feel like they could have maybe done a little bit better there, but yeah, just not a team that's having a great time. They didn't get anything going in the passing game, completing about a third of their passes between two quarterbacks. Brock Glenn did pass for a touchdown in the game, so I guess we got to give him some credit, but yeah, not a quarterback situation that looks very good there for the Seminoles. And the running game didn't look amazing either. Just not great. They got a little bit done on the ground, I suppose, but not enough to make this game even very competitive. Yeah, nobody had a particularly great wide receiver type day, and yeah, just not a lot of positives to report there on the defensive side either. I mean, they gave up 215 passing yards. That's not crazy, but they gave up 230 yards on the ground and 3 rushing touchdowns. So pretty bleak stuff, generally speaking, there for Florida State. They were not able to generate a single turnover in the game. So, yeah, not a lot of positives for the Seminoles, who come into this game getting 2.5 points playing at home. We've got an over-under of 50 out there. The Tar Heels are only 1-6-1 against the spread this season. They're 5-3 to the under. Florida State is 2-5-1 against the spread and 7-1 to the under themselves. Guys, I like North Carolina here at under a field goal. Taking a -2.5 seems very, very reasonable. This is more of an anti-Florida State pick than a pro-North Carolina pick. It seems like Florida State has thrown in the towel now. I mean, they're 1-7 overall. They can't make a bowl game at this point in the season. It's crazy to think Florida State was a popular pick to win the ACC and make the college football playoff this season. It's been brutal for Florida State on the offensive side of the ball. They're 131st in the nation in scoring. We're not all that high on North Carolina either, but the Tar Heels are at least showing some fight. They picked up that nice 41-14 win on the road against Virginia in their last game, and we like for this positive momentum to carry over here for the Tar Heels as they win and cover this spread. In terms of that over-under there of 50, I definitely think you want to take a good look here at the under. Both teams showing big trends here to the under. Both teams want to run the ball. Under 50 seems like a very reasonable play to me. Next on the docket, guys, we are headed over to the Sun Belt. We are looking at Coastal Carolina going on the road here to take on Troy. Coastal Carolina comes into this game fresh off of back-to-back losses. They lost against Louisiana last week, 34-24. Not exactly having an incredible season, but there have been some reasons here for optimism. I mean, at only 1-2 in Sun Belt play, I don't think this is a team we're looking at as, like an elite option, but we did see very good stuff from Noah Kim last week under center. 2 passing touchdowns, 182 yards. Nice stuff there. The running game was also online. 13 carries for 132 yards and 1 touchdown there for Bryden Bennett. So yeah, this team has some talent on the roster, guys. They just had to figure out how to put it together. And honestly, Louisiana is a tough out for anyone there in the Sun Belt, guys. There's a reason they're 6-1 on the season and undefeated there in conference play. The Raging Cajuns are no joke. So we'll see what Coastal Carolina can do in this one. Obviously, they're going to hope to do a little bit better defensively as they go on the road to take on the Trojans. Troy comes into this game straight up not having a good time. They are 1-6 on the season. Last week, they lost a game where they had a very good chance to win there against a good opponent in Arkansas State. That one was on the road. This could be a little bit of a rough outing in this one, guys, for Troy, because that had to be an absolute heartbreaker. We saw Matthew Caldwell throw 3 interceptions in the game. He did throw 2 touchdowns and 304 passing yards, but yeah, guys, just could not, keep from throwing it to the other team. The running game looked good for Troy also, but the defense looked abysmal. They gave up 350 passing yards. They gave up 185 yards and 3 rushing touchdowns in the game. Yeah, they, gave up a turnover. They gave up a total of 4 turnovers in the game. We did see Arkansas give up 2 turnovers, but you lose that turnover margin by 4, you're going to be in a really bad spot. So kind of worried about Troy coming into this game. They are getting 3.5 points. We've got an over-under of 53. Coastal Carolina, they are 3-4 against the spread. They are 5-2 to the over. Troy, 3-5 against the spread, 4-3-1 to the under. Guys, I'm taking Coastal Carolina here in this game. Troy has been one of the larger disappointments in the group of 5 this season. That 1-7 record and being winless against FBS teams, pretty embarrassing. We feel Troy is a little better than what their record would indicate, but there's not much left for the Trojans to play for. They can't make a bowl game this season. Coastal Carolina is a tier above Troy, and this group still has a lot to play for as they look to make a run at a bowl game. And yeah, standing 4-3 overall, not too shabby. Coastal Carolina has faced a very rough schedule over the past month, and this is their chance to right the ship coming off back-to-back Sun Belt losses. In terms of that over-under 53, not really a spot that I'm nuts about, guys. I don't have a big lean on that over-under one way or the other. Moving right along, guys, we are looking at the Arizona State Sun Devils going on the road to take on the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Arizona State comes into this game 5-2 on the season, but they are fresh off of a tough loss there at Cincinnati. Yeah, Cincinnati, a decent team there in the Big 12, so I don't think you need to be too embarrassed about that, but at 5-2 on the season, Arizona State had some higher aspirations, and I would assume they probably still do, guys, because this has been a fairly talented team out there. I mean, in their 14-24 loss, they did play pretty well there on defense, at least against the pass, but the offense did not get much going, guys. Jeff Sims only completed half of his passes for 155 yards. The running game did look good, nearly 200 yards on 40 carries and 2 rushing touchdowns, so definitely some big positives there. They didn't break off any massive runs per se, but definitely a nice day for Arizona State in the running game. But when you come up 10 points short, that's just not going to get the job done. They did have a costly fumble there, so yeah, being kind of on the wrong side there of the, I mean, not on the wrong side of the turnover margin. Each team had a turnover, but still just not exactly what you're hoping for there as a Sun Devils fan. On the defensive side of the ball, they did limit the pass. They did come up with that one interception like we were seeing. They didn't have a great time against the running game. They gave up a 55-yard run there to Evan Pryor, so that kind of messed stuff up. And yeah, just not a banner day for Arizona State, a team that's played pretty well generally speaking this season. So we'll see if they can bounce back here going on the road to take on the Oklahoma State Cowboys, who come into this game, guys, 3-5 on the season, and they are riding a 5-game losing streak, albeit against some pretty solid competition, but still, you would have hoped for the Cowboys that they would sneak a win in there, but unfortunately for them, they are 0-5 right now in Big 12 play. In their loss last week at Baylor, they lost 38-28, so that can't have felt too good. Yeah, just rough stuff. They gave up 14 points there in the fourth quarter, eventually to, not to finish off this game on top. I'll tell you what, we saw Alan Bowman, guys, 359 passing yards and a touchdown, but he was also picked off once, so that's got to be a little bit disappointing. He had a negative 38 rushing yards in the game, so that's something to be working on. Probably don't run backwards quite so much. We saw the running game look pretty good there for Oklahoma State. I mean, Gordon II put up 2 running touchdowns and 77 yards on 18 carries, so not necessarily a dominant performance, but he was finding the end zone at least. In the passing game, guys, Presley looking insane. 15 receptions for 183 yards and a touchdown, so definitely somebody that Arizona State's going to be having to try and slow down, but they did have 2 turnovers in the game. They only forced 1 turnover of their own. They had no answers there for the Baylor passing game. That's not even that great, and they had an absolutely 0-1, negative a million answers there for the Baylor rushing attack. The Bears put up 345 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns on only 37 carries there. So Oklahoma State going to have to figure something out there against the running game. Coming into this game, guys, we see the Cowboys getting 4.5 points at home. Arizona State, they are 5-2 against the spread this season, 4-3 to the under. Oklahoma State, 3-5 against the spread and 5-3 to the over. Guys, I like Arizona State here. This is an interesting matchup when you consider that Oklahoma State was the pick to win the Big 12, while Arizona State was the popular pick to finish last in the conference. Well, guys, it looks like that's not happening. The Sun Devils have been a pleasant surprise, surpassing all expectations with their new roster that is just loaded with transfers. It can be tricky to get a good read on what a team that's filled with transfers is going to do, but it became clear pretty quick Arizona State is more than respectable. We love what Michigan State transfer Sam Leavitt has done, what he's brought to Arizona State on the offensive side. I mean, dual threat capabilities are a big deal, and he'll be back starting for the Sun Devils this week. We simply don't see this as a spot where Oklahoma State turns things around as they stand 0-5 right now in Big 12 play. Give me Arizona State to get the win and cover in this game. In terms of the over-under here, we've got mixed trends for these two teams. I would probably lean just a hair towards the over, but it's a pretty big number, so I would not blame anyone that just wanted to stay away from that over-under and go ahead and take Arizona State. Next on the docket, guys, we've got number 10, Texas A&M going on the road to take on South Carolina. Texas A&M comes into this game 7-1 on the season. They lost their season opener there against Notre Dame, and they have just been killing it ever since. Last week, they got a nice 38-23 win over then number 8 LSU. They've got a win over then number 9 Mizzou on the record, too. A nice win at Florida early in the season. I mean, maybe nice is a little bit generous there, but this Aggies team has been playing great. In that win over LSU, we obviously saw some very positive things. Putting up 17 points there in the fourth quarter doesn't look too bad either. They did a great job on defense. Offensively, the passing game still doesn't look amazing, guys. Don't get me wrong, but the running game is potent. They had 49 carries as a team for 242 yards and 5 rushing touchdowns. Daniels, Moss, Reed, all looking very good out there. Those numbers would look even better if you take out the mistakes. I mean, Reed had 3 touchdowns in the game on only 9 carries and 62 yards, and they were doing all this without busting off a ton of super long run. So very, very good stuff there, and their defense looked even better. They had 3 interceptions on the day, so very, very nice stuff there. They gave up very little to the running game. They did struggle a bit against the pass, but if your opponent is going to throw the ball 50 times, you're going to give up some passing yards. So yeah, definitely a positive experience out there for Texas A&M last week, and now they get to go on the road to take on the South Carolina Gamecocks, who are 4-3 on the season, and coming off a nice win of their own. They went and took down Oklahoma there 35-9, so a very, very dominant performance, not against like the most dominant Oklahoma team that we've ever seen, but it was a good win there, and they dodged that letdown after a very close game against Alabama the week before. Yeah, we saw South Carolina. The passing attack looked okay, not usually their main consideration here. They're a team that wants to run the ball, and running the ball did not really work out there against Oklahoma. They had 41 carries for 74 yards and 1 rushing touchdown. Not a great look. They didn't turn the ball over, which is nice, but yes, watching them struggle to run the ball is concerning. They did have a couple of interceptions there on defense and only give up 9 points, so that's very respectable. Yeah, when you force your opponent into 4 turnovers, you're generally going to have a good time, but are they going to be able to do something similar to that here going up against Texas A&M? That seems like a very, very big ask to me, guys. And looking at the numbers for this game, we see South Carolina, they're getting 3 points here playing at home. We've got an over-under out there of 44. Texas A&M, they're 3-5 against the spread and 5-3 to the over. South Carolina is 5-2 against the spread and 4-3 to the over themselves. Guys, I like Texas A&M here at -3. This is a potential letdown game for Texas A&M going on the road after coming off of a very impressive 38-23 win over LSU. But with that said, guys, Texas A&M has been the hottest team in the SEC. They've won 7 straight games, grabbing some nice resume building wins along the way to bring them back into the top 10. South Carolina actually hasn't looked all that great at home, losing in recent SEC contests against LSU and Ole Miss. South Carolina has been much less consistent than what Texas A&M has shown us over the past month, and we're going to chance it here, taking the red hot Aggies, giving the points on the road. In terms of that over under there of only 44, it feels like it might be a trap, guys, but I definitely think over 44 is a fantastic play on this game. I think we'll see enough offense out there. Not that either one of these teams love to throw the ball a ton, but both of them can put up big numbers there in the running game, and they can throw it a little bit too, so getting over 44 points does not seem too tough. Next on the docket, guys, we got the TCU Horned Frogs going on the road to take on the Baylor Bears. TCU comes into this game winners of their last 2 in a row, and they're 5-3 on the season, so doing some positive things. But last week, guys, it was a nail biter. They won 35-34 there against Texas Tech, so a nice win there. Right after winning at Utah, not exactly the toughest Utah team out there, and they barely managed the 13-7 win over Utah. So we'll see what they can do in this one. In their win over Texas Tech, guys, like I said, an absolute nail biter. We obviously saw some good things from TCU, outscoring Texas Tech 14-3 in the fourth quarter. Very solid stuff. Josh Hoover did get picked off twice, but did also pass for 3 touchdowns and 344 yards. So we'll give him some credit, but not necessarily a mistake-free day. The running game didn't look amazing. 117 yards, 2 touchdowns, but 27 carries to get there. So that's fine, but not exactly something to write home about. We'll see what they can do in this one. A total of 3 turnovers in the game paints a picture of kind of a sloppy team. So we're definitely worried about that. We're also worried about them struggling against the running attack there of Texas Tech, and they didn't exactly shut down the pass either, giving up 258 combined passing yards. So yeah, we'll see what they can do in this one, but not necessarily a TCU defense that I'm super excited about. They're going on the road to take on the Baylor Bears, who come into this game 4-4 on the season. They've won their last 2 games in a row, getting a convincing win there at Texas Tech, and then last week getting a nice 38-28 win at home against Oklahoma State. Baylor 4-4 on the season, 2-3 there in Big 12 play. So we're not going to act like this Baylor team is terrible, guys. I don't think they're that bad at all. We saw good stuff there from Sawyer Robertson, 222 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, only 1 interception. So yeah, obviously a mistake there, something to clean up, but not terrible. Yeah. Dawson Pendergrass looked unstoppable there against Oklahoma State, guys. 6 carries for 142 yards and 1 touchdown. Bryson Washington also dominant in the running game. Sawyer Robertson dominant in the running game. Baylor was just getting whatever they wanted there on the ground. And yeah, that's something they're going to be looking to replicate in this game, absolutely for sure. They can control the tempo of the game and hopefully play some good defense, maybe a little bit better than last week. They did dominate the Oklahoma State rushing attack, giving up only 74 yards on 34 carries, but they did struggle maybe a little bit there against the pass, but I don't think we need to be super duper worried about that in this one, but time will tell, guys. And looking at the numbers for this game, we see Baylor, they're -3 playing at home. We've got an over-under of 63.5. TCU 2-6 against the spread, 5-3 to the over. Baylor 5-3 against the spread and 5-3 to that over as well. Guys, I like Baylor here at -3. They've been quietly putting up solid results in recent weeks, picking up back-to-back double-digit wins against Texas Tech and Oklahoma State. Baylor is trending in a positive direction right now, and they're a rough out there on their home field. TCU has been less consistent than what we'd like to see, guys, having a very up and down season on both sides of the ball, generally playing to the level of their competition. We lost a lot of confidence in TCU when they fell at home to Houston 19-30, and the Horned Frogs were fortunate in recent wins against both Texas Tech and Utah. Guys, we'll take the hot hand here. We are siding with the home team to win and cover. In terms of that over-under of 63.5, seems like a crazy big number to me, guys, but with the kind of numbers these two teams have been putting up, I don't think that's nuts, but I also don't really love this as an over-under play. Last but not least, guys, we have the Colorado State Rams going on the road to take on the Nevada Wolfpack in a Mountain West showdown. Colorado State comes in this game still undefeated in conference play. They're 3-0 in the Mountain West. They're 5-3 overall, and they've won their last 3 games, taking down San Jose State, Air Force, and New Mexico. In their win over New Mexico is only a 17-6 win there, guys, so nothing too incredible, but we did like what we saw, generally speaking. I mean, yeah, 142 yards, 1 passing touchdown, no interceptions there. The running game was very much online, 192 yards on 36 carries. So, yeah, nothing wrong with that, guys. This offense was moving the ball. They were just having a little bit of trouble there getting it into the end zone. They didn't turn the ball over in this entire game, so that's pretty impressive. And on the defensive side, guys, giving up only 6 points. Very, very nice stuff. They had 2 interceptions there against Dampier. They had 2 fumble recoveries, so a total of 4 turnovers in the game. Honestly, this should have been a blowout there for Colorado State. They really just had trouble getting the ball into the end zone. So I think we could see that change, but I'm expecting a solid play from them once again, guys, on both sides of the ball. That's all you can really ask for, and I think that's what we'll get here from the Rams as they go on the road to take on the Nevada Wolfpack, who come into this game, guys, not having a great season. They're 3-6 overall. They're 0-3 in Mountain West play. They lost against Oregon State. They lost against Fresno State. That had to be a little bit of a tough loss there. They had their chances in that game for sure, and then they just got blown out at Hawaii, who's only 1-2 in conference play and 3-5 on the season. In that blowout, 34-13, maybe that's too strong a word. Maybe it's not a blowout, but that's a pretty convincing loss, guys, against Hawaii. We saw Nevada only put up 13 points. They didn't even score in the first half. Yeah, Chuba Purdy, 155 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Not great. Blanco did look a bit better there under center, so give him some credit, but the running game didn't look great out there. We did see Marcus Bellin go nuts for 116 receiving yards, but we also saw them fumble the ball away once. So 2 turnovers in a game where you only force 1 turnover, usually not going to have a good time, and if you can't stop the Hawaii, offense in general, you're not going to probably have a great time against a much better Colorado State team. So look at the numbers for this game, guys. We see Nevada's getting 2.5 points playing at home. We got an over-under out there of 45. Colorado State 5-3 against the spread, 5-2-1 to the under. Nevada 5-3-1 against the spread, and 5-4 to the over. Guys, give me Colorado to get the win and cover here on the road. It hasn't always been pretty for Colorado State in recent weeks, but we can't deny the Rams have been coming through in crunch time, winning 3 straight to stand 3-0 in the Mountain West. We actually feel Colorado State has a higher ceiling on the offensive side of the ball than what they've shown so far this season, but the pleasant surprise has been how good their defense has been, especially in conference play. Nevada had one of their worst performances of the year last week, losing at Hawaii 13-34. It's been a disappointing start for Nevada in the Mountain West. Now they are 3-6 overall and 0-3 in league play. Give me the Colorado State Rams to continue their winning streak as they comfortably cover this spread. And in terms of that over-under of 45, not a big read on that one. I would say probably trend a little bit here towards the under, but I really just like Colorado State here to get a convincing win more than anything else. That's all the games we have for today, guys. Hit that like button for good luck on all of your bets and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Let me know in the comments any questions you have on today's slate. Thanks for watching. You can click the link in the description to check out stumpthespread.com, and we will see you guys tomorrow for more sports betting action.